Good morning, everybody, and welcome back into the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I will be your host. I am always your host. I am trimming up a plant today, and gosh, it's loud. Listen. Yeah, that's irritating, isn't it? Let's do it again. It's still irritating. Yeah, these are my fancy pruners, but I need to oil them. I don't know why. Probably the humidity in the room. When you have a humid room, things that are made of metal don't seem to last very long. What I'm doing today is I'm pruning off some lower leaves of a sunflower plant, and yeah, I'm growing a sunflower indoors. Probably not the smartest thing I've done, but I never let that stop me. You know what I notice is that when I'm cutting these leaves off, little white flies are running for their lives because I'm throwing them in the trash. Yes, I have white flies in here, and I've always had white flies. It's one of those things where there are certain things that you either try to fight or you just get used to them. And white flies are my white whale. And I've tried to get rid of them, and I've gotten rid of them, and then one of them flies in the door at random, you know, because they live everywhere in the world. One of them flies in, and it turns out she's pregnant, and she gives birth all over this room, and there I go again. It's kind of like fungus gnats. I have the hypoaspis mites, which are the little predatory mites that live in the soil. I bought those a long time ago, and they're doing their job. They are munching away and having a good time, my little army going on. And every now and then a fungus net comes in from outside, because whatever you have that infects your plants indoors, it probably came from outdoors. And I have an outdoors. I'm always going in and out. And so there's no way to totally sanitize myself as I come in and out. So eventually these little insects find their way to the best place on earth, and it turns out the best place on earth is my plants. And so whenever I get the occasional fungus net, I really don't worry about it because I have my little army. So they'll buzz around and act like their boss, and then they lay an egg, and then their children hatch, and then they're eaten by the fungus net predators. And I also have some of that fly paper that comes in a tube, the really gross stuff. Yeah, I hang it on the sides of the wall. Turns out that's better than those sticky traps, you know, those little yellow things. Yeah, this fly paper is dirt cheap. And I hang it on the sides of the wall. Looks awful as heck, but fungus gnats stick to it like glue. Yes, they don't get away from that. So the adults stick to that, their kids get eaten alive, and everybody's happy except for the fungus gnats. But I'm growing a sunflower indoors, and the reason I'm doing this isn't because I want to prove something. It's because what I did was when I planted the outdoor garden, I had all these extra seeds, and I didn't know what to do with them. And I wasn't ready to plant them outside in other areas of the yard, so I thought, well, every now and then I could just put a seed in a pot of a plant that isn't doing very good, because just like your garden, my garden's the same, and just like any other greenhouse or any other place on earth, plants live, they grow, sometimes they die. It just happens. That's nature. That's what happens. And some of my plants, they just don't want to live in here, or they're just nearing the end of their lifespan. So what I'll do is I'll toss a seed in there so that when the old plant dies, we have new life coming up out of the pot, and I get rid of the old plant and start on with the new plant. And that's what happened with the sunflower. I just had an extra sunflower seed, and I didn't feel like, I was lazy. I didn't feel like finding the packet for it, so I shoved it in a pot, and voila, it grew. Don't know what it replaced, don't really care, but it's doing really good. Look, indoor sunflower. Yeah, it likes the lighting in here. It's really strange. I get a lot of questions on indoor gardening, and the main question without a doubt is, what kind of lighting do you use? Well, I use those bulbs, and I'll put the link underneath this video. I'll put the link of what the bulb is and where I get it. I'm not promoting the website, that's where I buy my bulbs. And I use the same exact bulb all over the room. I have like 12 of them all over the room, and it lights up the whole room. It's wonderful. It's not very expensive either. And I use the same bulb for growing, for fruiting, for flowering, for the whole thing. And there are some purists that'll say, well, you need warm light, which is low Kelvin for the flowering. You need the white light, which is the high Kelvin for the green stage. And I read the comments, I nod, and I put a little smiley face and move on with my life. Because if they want to grow that way, that's absolutely fine. Whatever works for you, knock yourself out. I'm all for that. But for me, the same bulb does everything for these plants. It helps with the green phase. I mean, look at this. I love this thing, and I was dying to show you. It's been doing exceptionally well. This is my blood banana, which is also known as a Zabrina banana. And yeah, it grows really good. I got it as a little sprout many years ago. It grew up into this huge tree. This isn't the one. It grew up into this huge tree. It was doing fine. I moved over into this new house from Minnesota, And I remember that episode a while back about the dangers of organic gardening. I was talking about there was something going wrong in my soil. Well, the banana tree died. Just flat out died. Yep, well, sucks to be the banana tree, and there was nothing I can do to save it. I felt really bad, so I sliced it off at ground level, and I set it aside because I was so busy doing other things with the new home and all, I didn't have time to clear the pot out. And what happened was a baby grew. Yeah, a baby came out of there, and I thought, oh, well, that's kind of nice. And the baby grew up, and the baby even had a baby. Well, that little baby sprout died. But this baby plant shows no signs of slowing down. Each leaf is bigger than the next. And yeah, it's doing fantastic. What I did was I just stopped using the fertilizer I was using, and I changed to another one, and I slowed the fertilizer down just a little bit. I tested my water's fine, and the plants seem to be loving it. So anyway, I'm pruning this. This is my sunflower, you know, and if I got to say one bad thing about growing a sunflower, they attract white flies like a magnet. Every white fly in this room seems to center in on this, and I don't want to spray it every other day because I'll kill it. No matter what you use, no matter how benevolent that spray is, if you use too much of it, you're going to kill your plant. There is no perfect thing in this world, so I don't want to spray this. I usually use pyrethrin, but only if I absolutely need to. And I don't really absolutely need to because they don't seem to be harming me right now. They kind of keep themselves in check. Don't know why, don't know how. But anyway, I think I'm going to have a sunflower because I think it's starting to form a little flower on top. So that's kind of nice. And let's set you aside. I wanted to show you this as well. This is a spider plant. You know what a spider plant looks like. It's one of the most common spider plants. It's one of the most common house plants on the planet. But this one is special to me because a viewer, one of you, sent me, remember the little spider plant babies you sent me? Yeah, I opened up a box, this little box that came in the mail, because people are always mailing me stuff. And I'm serious, they are always mailing me things. A lot of the things I have growing in here aren't even mine, they're yours. So this is your garden growing here, I'm just the caretaker. Somebody sent me some spider plant babies, and they were these itty bitty things, and they were all wilty because, you know, when you mail plants, they take a while to get here, and yeah, they were all wilty and mushy, and I tossed them in the soil, and I was hoping for the best, and look, the best. Yep, this bad boy, bad girl actually, it's a girl, this bad girl just went nuts and went crazy. I remember I told you on the Praxis channel a story about a spider plant that I grew in a store when I was working in a retail store, and that's a true story. But what I really like about this reminds me of that plant, because that plant started out so small and so pathetic, and it grew so fast and furious. This is doing the exact same thing, and it's so healthy and happy, it decided to put out seeds. Yeah, they actually put out little flowers, and then they put out little seeds, seed pods where the flowers are. So I got seed pods all over this thing, and it put out babies. All kinds of babies. Yeah, I'm going to show you. You know I am. I always do this trip up to the camera every single episode, so deal with it. Look at this. Neat, huh? Yeah, they're all over the place. Okay, well, this thing's getting a little heavy, so I'm going to go over here. But I want to show you something up close, so I guess I should just bring you in over here and show you something that I've been doing to this plant, because it's really a fun thing that you can do at home. You with your kids, or you with yourself, or you with your dog or cat. I don't care who you do it with, but look at this. Right here we have the 3 main plants. See, I planted 3 plants and they grew up nicely. Then they put out these runners. And the reason that spider plants put out runners is because they're actually a grass. Spider plants are nothing more than a grass that was domesticated. And this grass, it grows in clusters, and when it gets so crowded, like root bound, or if it's growing between some rocks or anything in nature, what it does is it sends out these runners which go up and then over whatever obstacle it is. It doesn't know how far the obstacle is, but it just takes a chance that it sends these over there. And then there's babies, actually a living growing plant right on the end of the thing. And if you look at the very bottom, when they get bigger, you'll see little nubs, and they start turning into roots. Now you can take these and you can clip them off and root them, but what I do is I bend the stem back, and then right in the pot, I plant these in the middle, and then I leave this bare for a reason. I bring these back, I move a little soil, plant these in here, and I take a paper clip, bend it in half, and I push it into the soil where the stem is here. That holds it in place. I give it about maybe, I'd say, a couple weeks or so, and you can notice that the plant will start growing showing more life because it's not being supported just by the umbilical cord. Those nubs on the end will start turning into roots. And then when that happens, you just snip the stem a couple inches from the plant, let this other part fall down, and you'll get even more babies. And then what'll happen is, look, you get a new plant. And I've done this all around the plant. I've got one here. I've got, where's the other ones? Did they get buried? Holy cow, I think they got buried. Yep, I got two more on the other side. See? Two more plants. And what that's going to do is it's going to help this whole plant start filling out and being bushier. So it's going to be this big, huge, beautiful, full plant in a pot. The nice thing about spider plants is they don't mind being a little bit root bound. So if your plant gets a little root bound, don't worry about it at all. You can transplant it if you want, but you really don't have to. You know, back when I lived in an apartment, I didn't have a lot of floor space. I lived in a very small apartment way, way back when I was young. And I didn't have a lot of floor space for my plants or table space. So what I would do is I'd hang them. A lot of people back in the day used to hang these, and those, remember the old macrame? Yeah, your grandma hands those. Yeah, I had the hanging planters, and I would do that, but I don't do that anymore because I don't want to hang anything off my ceiling. This one is a table model, and you can grow these even as a floor model if you have a pedestal that you want to put these things on. They look beautiful as a regular table plant. Now I'm going to just let this thing go. I'm not going to clip off any more babies. I'm just going to let them go and see how many I can get going on here. It seems to be doing pretty good. And another common plant, but not generally indoors. This is generally an outdoor plant, but I don't want to grow it outdoors. I want it to grow indoors. This is called a coleus. Yeah, a coleus. I showed this in a previous episode. I got this from a greenhouse. And it was tall, it was beautiful, but what I did was I pruned it off. Yeah, you know me, I snip everything down. But I pruned it off because it had some side branches that were short, but I wanted them to bush out because I didn't want a really tall plant. I wanted a bushy plant. And boy, did this thing do well. But the weird thing is that it did it did a little too well. Something happened here, and it decided to put out flowers. Yeah, coleus will actually flower. Take a look at this. Yeah, it will send out these stalks, and there's little white flowers all over this thing. Yeah, they're even, oh, hold on. Yep, even in the back. It's a beautiful plant. Nice color on the leaves. The leaves alone are worth buying this thing, but it puts out these flowers. No, they don't really have that great of a smell, but it's kind of nice to see your plants so happy and healthy that they decide to put out flowers. So I'm going to let this flower. And I've never had a coleus go to seed before. So this is going to be interesting. Generally, when your plants start flowering and going to seed, they stop growing because they're putting out flowers. Yeah, I don't know. It smells green, but it doesn't really smell like much of a flower. So I'm going to let this go for a little while. And then I'm going to snip them off and then save the seed heads and then maybe plant a whole container of these, or maybe next year. I'll save the seeds till next year, plant these in the empty spaces in my garden. That'll actually be a pretty good idea. So this is my coleus. I wanted to show you this too because every now and then I like to do updates on what's going on in here so that you're not so shocked, you know, next time you come in. Look back here. Back here, this is the passion fruit. Remember I showed this in the VoodooGarden in Pictures a couple episodes ago, the passion fruit. I got some seeds from somebody, and this is your passion fruit. It's growing all over the place, and I can't seem to stop it. It hit the roof, and I don't know where it's going to go from there. But yeah, we got passion fruit growing all over. And it started out as one vine. Usually when you grow a passion fruit, you get this one vine going up. Well, what I did was, Mr. Pruner, yep, I pruned it off, and it forked, and I did that, and it forked again, and it looked like this little menorah type thing, you know, with the little things coming up. And that's what it's doing. It's got like 5 vines growing up all over. I like the way it's kind of grabbing onto everything because they have tendrils and they grab onto everything and then they go all over the room. Doing pretty good, but if it comes over here, it's going to hit some competition because I got vanilla over here. More soil than it's ever going to need. But I have all these decorations that people sent me gifts. Yeah, these are all gifts from viewers. And even this long stick here, that is actually a gourd. It's called a kakusa gourd. And it grows like a zucchini. That thing is like 4 feet long, and I had to save it. So I mounted it up on the wall. Yep, that's from a viewer. He sent me a box of zucchini squash. But look at the vines. They hit the roof. They don't know where to go. They're grabbing onto everything with tendrils. And they're going over here. And there's a whole bunch of stuff on a shelf here, all my little collectibles from people. But there's a vine over here. Do you know what this vine is? Can you make it out real quick? Yep, that is a vanilla orchid. That's where vanilla beans come from. Well, it started out as an itty bitty teeny tiny plant, and it just started growing, and it's vining over here, it's vining down, it's coming over here. I didn't know what to do with it. It actually vined down and hit the floor, and it was crawling around, and I kept stepping on it, so I got tired of stepping on it. So I just started moving the vines over here. This thing, I don't know what I'm doing right. It's not really getting the best of light, and I just water it, let it dry out, water it, dry out, and that's what it's doing. You know, I thought if I took off the seed heads and trimmed the leaves, it would bush out. Remember I mentioned that? Well, it did. It sent out new side shoots. Oops, whoa, man. Get off my finger. Well, it sent out new side shoots. The only thing is the side shoots weren't green growth. They were seed heads, or flower heads. Yeah, so this is my tobacco, my Shirazi tobacco, and the way I pollinate them is I can't get my finger in there, so what I do is I take the flowers and I go like this. Squeeze, 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 every day. And that, yeah, I know that's a real technical way to pollinate your flowers. Thing is, it's working. Yeah, the flowers actually die, and then I take these off of here, and the ones that don't get pollinated, they just come off with the flowers, but the ones that do, they leave the pods here. So I'm getting a good pollination rate. Once they're all seed pods, and the seed pods turn brown, then I just snip it off, and I place it on a plate. And this is what they look like when they're dried. You got to be very careful because they will bust open, and they are full of these itty bitty teeny tiny grains that look like coffee. Yeah, so there's like a million seeds in this cluster, and then I got another cluster, and then I got this thing over here. Look, ooh, yeah, kind of creepy. It looks like some kind of weird alien, doesn't it? Well, what this is ooh, there goes another seed. What happens is these pods bust open and the seeds go flying across the room. Yeah, that's kind of scary. This is a castor flower seed, well, castor seed pod, and these are called castor beans. I was walking around without my glasses, and this was like a month or so ago, and I kept stepping on these things, and I thought I was stepping on beetles because I got a lot of insects that come in here. And I thought, why are these beetles dying in my voodoo garden? Then when I came in with my glasses one day, I thought, oh, those are seeds. I was kicking them out of the way. Well, here's the plant that's producing all of those. This is a castor plant. And I know, it's poisonous. But then again, like I said, I don't put the plant in my mouth. Rascal has no interest in these plants, so it's 100% safe to be growing this. And but I wanted to show you this because it is a beautiful plant. And it's always putting out these weird little, I don't know what that is, a pollen pod, and then it'll eventually put out some flowers. And when it does, it forks. See, I got this, and I got this over here. But the stem looks really tropical. The leaves, they come out at first, and they're going straight across. Yeah, that's nice and beautiful. And look, red. It's the most beautiful red stem. But as the leaves age, they don't just fall off. What they do is they kind of swoop down, and they give this really graceful, tropical appearance to this plant. Isn't that beautiful? It really is. It's sectioned off. The trunk has sections, kind of like bamboo. This plant is really entertaining me, and somebody sent me a seed. Yeah, this is your plant, the castor bean plant. It's a beautiful indoor plant. Of course, it's going to grow good outdoors, but I didn't want to grow it outdoors. I wanted to grow it indoors. And while I got you here, let me move you on over here. You remember the voodoo lily? Yeah, the namesake of the voodoo garden. This was growing in a large pot. Somebody sent me 2 bulbs. One of them died, one of them survived, but the problem is it was growing in a large pot, and then it slowly started to die. Some of you remember the episode where I showed the leaves were actually dying. So once it totally died, I didn't know what to do. I felt kind of bad, so I thought, well, I'll rip it out and toss it away and reuse the soil like I always do. Well, I ripped it out, set it aside, and like me, I forgot about it for a while. It just sat here on the table, and because I always have things going on. I am so absent-minded. I just left it there, and then it sprouted again. I thought, oops. So I shoved it in this little tiny pot, and the only thing that was here was this little nub on top of the dead bulb. And look, this grew, all of these grew, and back from the dead comes the voodoo lily. Yeah, so it's just growing and growing and growing. And I got to show you this. I got to show you this because this is turning out to be one of my favorite plants. It's not a very pretty plant. And you know what this is? Look at the flowers first. Yeah, we're going to play a guessing game here. Beautiful flowers, aren't they? Yep. And then they close up and they have these weird covers. Yeah, you see the whiteflies? Yeah, whiteflies love this plant. This is a cotton plant. Yeah, cotton. You know, like the same stuff that grows down south. And as soon as it closes up, what will happen is a bulb will form. And here's the bulb inside these leaves. Oh, I'm trying to do this with one hand. You've got to pardon my shakiness here, okay? There. See that bulb? Yeah, that's the seed pod. The seed pod grows and it grows. And then eventually one day, look what happens. It busts open. It busts open and you have a cotton ball. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where cotton comes from. And this is naturally green cotton, not white cotton. It's green cotton. And you pull this out and you can see, well, you can't see it, but I can feel there are seeds inside of here, a whole bunch of seeds, like maybe, I'd say 24 seeds inside of this. And you can pull this cotton apart. Wow. There's a lot of work in picking cotton and turning it into jeans or shirts. That's for sure. But this is a beauty. I didn't think it would actually come out green. It didn't look green at first. It looked kind of brown, but no, that's green. Yeah, it's dead. It's finally dead. This is the peanut plant. Yep. Remember the peanut plant I was showing that I was growing? Oh, don't fall. I had a peanut plant growing over there on the table. And it was big and green and beautiful. And it had these little itty bitty yellow flowers. And the little itty bitty yellow flowers would die. Then the peanut plant would take the stem and push the flowers into the soil. And then it forms peanuts. That's where peanuts come from. It is fascinating. Nature is one crazy science experiment after another. And I've always been fascinated by it. I think in another life I could have been a botanist. Yes, I could have. But I'm not a botanist. I'm a crazy gardener. And this plant I really messed up on. Everybody messes up, from the pros to the amateurs. So don't ever feel bad about that, okay? I want to show you my mess ups because I want you to feel that I'm an actual normal person like you. I'm not going to just show you all the successes because that's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. I have mess-ups just like you. Even the greenhouses where you buy all these beautiful plants and you wonder how they get such beautiful plants, go to the back of the greenhouse sometime. All greenhouses have this. They always have this back section that they don't really want their customers to see. It's all their mistakes and their dying plants and their diseased plants. Yeah, even greenhouses. And they have the benefit of all the chemical fertilizers, all the professionals and all the know-how and the perfect growing conditions. Even they have dead plants. Well, I overwatered this bad boy and a bad girl, and I killed it. Yeah, everybody overwaters once in a while. We all have mistakes, and this one was a mistake. But since it was putting flowers into the soil, I thought, why not dump this out live on camera and see if we got any peanuts? Because it was a peanut plant and it had flowers in there. So I was dying to find out, but I wanted to wait until I filmed. So this has been sitting here for 3 or 4 days. So let's dump this out. Sit over here and we'll dump this out together. And let's find out if Ray can actually grow peanuts indoors. Well, you don't get any closer than that. Yeah, that's one dead plant. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rip it out, okay? Ooh, ooh. This is fascinating. Look at this. This is what I was talking about. Hey, look. Peanuts. Yeah, that's what peanuts look like when you harvest them. You just pull up the plant. See, here's where one was forming. These are fully formed peanuts. Then all you do, you just pick them off like this. And I'm going to dry these in a window. I don't know, I'll probably pick them all. What the heck. But I don't know if there are any more in here. It's kind of like, I think it's kind of like potatoes. I'm going to dig around and see if I can find any more in here. Hold on a second. Let me toss this away. Okay, that's scrap. Set this here. And are there more? There are! It's fun. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but this is fun. Let me set these aside, and I'm going to start digging in here because I see where the roots are going down. That makes me wonder if there's any more down in here. Ooh, what's this? Ooh. See what I told you about growing other things in here? I think this used to be an avocado pit. Look at what happens. As time goes on, it just rots away and you have soil. Yep, that's an avocado pit, folks. And that's what happens when it's left underground and the soil bacteria and all the funguses and all the little gnomes inside your soil go crazy on it. But let's dig up this root ball and see what we got here, okay? Here is the root ball for the peanut plant. Ooh, there's another one. There's another one. Ah! And this is from one seed, one peanut seed. And you can buy these online. Just look up peanut seeds. And, oh, this one's rotten. It's moldy. Ugh. Goes into my little compost bucket. But yeah, these are the roots. And the roots, by the way, I'm not going to throw those away. I just mix those in with the soil and let them decompose. And they will just fertilize the next batch. Here's another one. Ooh. This one's moldy too. I'm going to crack it open. See what it looks like. It's a moldy seed. Ooh. I think it stinks too. I'm smelling something funky. See? Peanuts. The soil still smells good. Good. I was hoping that it wasn't going to smell sour, because if you overwater your plants and they've been overwatered for a while, sometimes your soil smells sour. That generally means that there could be anaerobic bacteria going in there, because too much water pushes all the air out of the soil, and then you have anaerobic action going on in there, which kind of reeks. And also you can get molds and funguses and stuff like that. This smells good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this into this blue bucket, leave it open, let it dry out, and then I'm going to reuse it and plant something else. But hey! Peanut harvest! Not a bad day at all. I got this, I got my cotton to harvest, I got like 3 balls of cotton, so I'm going to get like dozens of seeds from that. Got my peanuts, which really makes me happy. I'm going to dry these out and possibly grow them next year or give them away. I really don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I've been harvesting all kinds of stuff out of the Voodoo Garden, and it really makes me happy. You know, the fruits of your labors. I got the Shirazi tobacco putting out seeds. I got my what is that? Castor bean putting out seeds. The peanuts, the cotton. It's really kind of fun, you know, harvesting stuff. Oh, and my coleus is going to be putting out seeds. It's really looking pretty good. Not so bad. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in the Voodoo Garden for this episode. It was actually really, really fun. And join me for next episode. The next episode, I'm going to show you some other plants that are going on here, because I really don't have time. Otherwise, it's going to be like an hour-long episode, and I don't want that. I got to save something for the next episode. But thank you, everybody, for joining me in the Voodoo Garden. I really do appreciate it. I hope you had fun. I had fun. And until next week, this is Ray. I'm out of here. All right. Make sure I get these out of here. Oh, hey, get back.